This week on Minute with Megan, I'm here with Pina DiBiase from our CEO Law team. Pina, and I'm so glad to have you here. There's so many questions that I wanted to ask you, but we're going to start with this one today. So part of your experience in working as counsel for large infrastructure projects includes negotiation and project management. Were there any common pitfalls that you encountered that could generally be avoided? And what were some of the common challenges that a lawyer like yourself would have to help to keep these projects moving?
Well, that's a really good question. And I would say the most important thing is, as a project lawyer, make sure that you do not become the project manager on the project. Now, it sounds like a really simple thing, but as a project lawyer, inevitably you get tangled up into the web of sometimes, falling into doing these tasks that are really purely project management tasks. Now, if you are questioning, if you are like stopping and questioning whether, is this legal or is this project management, chances are you've fallen into that zone.
Yeah.
So what I would say, and this happens very, very, very often, any project lawyer who's worked on a big project will tell you that. So the thing you have to do is realize that it is an issue. And the problem is that means there is a resourcing issue on your project. So you need to raise that, and it needs to be addressed. Now think of it as like an actor and a director. So you'll have oftentimes an individual who plays both roles. Now that individual actually, gets credited for both roles. The project lawyer does not, right? And so you want to really make sure that you protect yourself. And it really is for the benefit of the product of the project as well. So the other thing that could happen is you are going to be overburdened, overloaded, and by the end of the project, if not sooner, you are going to burn out. Trust me. So you want to make sure that that's something that you avoid. Now, the other thing is, you asked what are some of the common challenges that we can put in place that would help with these projects.
Yeah,
I would say as you go, now every project is different. Projects are run by people, right? And so the dynamics of a project is going to be different from one to the other. But as a project lawyer, when you step onto a project, I think it's really important to look at the project holistically and think creatively of ways that you as a project lawyer can bring your expertise to the table. Because oftentimes, I'll give you an example. Communication, flow of communication is really important on a project. And sometimes the project lawyer doesn't get the information at the beginning, right? Sometimes they call the lawyer when the problem is turned into something really big. At that point, you have to play catch up, right? And that takes a lot of effort. You missed a lot of maybe important pieces of information that you weren't aware of. So you need to be really creative and see where you can sort of fill in the gaps if you're finding that there's a bit of an issue. And so, for example, if communication is a problem, maybe what you want to consider is getting yourself invited to these meetings. They may be technical, but it doesn't matter. They may be really important because you will be aware of what the issues are. And maybe another thing you want to consider is creating your own meetings and having regularly scheduled meetings with critical team members so that you are abreast and aware of, what's going on the project, and you don't have to play catch up at the end, and you avoid, the problem, which happens all the time. Any project lawyer will tell you they come to you after the project has escalated. So if you get in front of it, you can sort of, help them, guide them through and make sure it doesn't get to that point. So the last point I was going to make on this is that it's also very critical for project lawyers to have a project management tools in place so that, for example, if they win the lottery or they're off doing something else and they're off the project, a new lawyer coming in can actually just have a snapshot of what the legal status is of this project. And that really ensures that there is no interruption in the project when you have a new lawyer coming on. So the knowledge transfer is not only easier, but it's already put in place, and it's a great way, to help the project, because you're always going to have changes in resources.
Yeah. Okay, so that sounds fair. So what I'm getting is, I mean, ideally, you're going to want to stay within your job description because you're not a project manager here. And if you are playing catch up, you'll want to insert yourself into the flow of communication. And finally, if you can get ahead of it, use your project management tools so there's a seamless transition. Am I correct there?
Absolutely. Good job.
Perfect. Thanks, Pina. We're all learning something today. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Cheers.